Here at Barcelona circuit, it is the first of 3 races of the weekend for Lamborghini Super Trofeo Europe. The cars making their way out on track, ready for the first 50-minute race. Why 3? Well, 1 is carried over from Le Mans. The second race couldn't be run, so that will slot in at the end of tomorrow. But the cars making their way, and it's another full field onto the circuit. 4 classes as ever, with the Pro, Pro-Am, Am and Lamborghini Cup competitions all to be argued over before they get to the Jerez World Finals in a month's time. Qualifying this morning, put onto pole position Amaury Bonduel, who has been the man to beat really throughout the season in Pro. He's had a bit of bad luck, such as at Le Mans, for example, but Bonduel very much starts as the favourite in the class, and there's no suggestion that this won't be another race in which the 4 times victor comes out on top. Other winners include the combination of Largim Ali and Oliver Söderström. Also, winners gone the way of Mattia Michelotto. He won at Le Mans, and Igor Oroshev has had a victory as well. The cars making their way to a rather busy and crowded grid, and they'll slot themselves into place, ready for the countdown and then into the rolling start. The target racing car you're on board with of Largim Ali making its way to the grid. Largim Ali starting 4th for this race. So let's go to the grid. Dakota Jane is down there, and she can have a word with Mattia Michelotto and Andrea Frasinetti. Andrea Frasinetti aboard the car, second on the grid.
Andrea, another Lamborghini race. This race is really important for not you, but your teammate, who's quite behind in the championship points, but he needs these 2 races to catch up to Bonduel, who will be beside you. Obviously, front row of the grid, there's no better place to start. What are you thinking ahead of the race?
Yeah, we work very well with together with Mattia from the first practice. Now the car is the best for the dry track. We'll see with wet track, because no one drive with this condition, so we'll see.
Obviously, being a part of the Young Drivers program for Lamborghini, how do you think that has helped you as a driver improve and in situations like this?
Helps me improving because I can see more data from maybe the pole sitter, so I can compare my driving style with the pole sitter, that is the Bonduel, so it's easier to arrive to the limit.
Are you nervous for the race?
Yeah, absolutely.
No, don't be. Good luck. Bocca al lupo.
Thank you.
So Andrea Frasinetti will do the second stint. Mattia Michelotto needs the points. He will go first. Amaury Bonduel is a solo driver, and the way that the championship works is that there's always that slight difference if you are a soloist compared to 2 drivers. So the solo drivers stop for 90 seconds line to line, double drivers for 87 seconds, just because the soloists do have a little bit of a head start when they get into that second stint. They know what the car feels like, they know what the track feels like as well, so that just equates it a little bit. Now then, Oliver Söderström, Largim Ali on the second row of the grid, and Dakota has found that car.
Largim now starting on 4th place on the grid. This is a big race for you, second in the championship, 7.5 points behind Bonduel. Now, we know Bonduel, he's been quick the whole year. What advantage do you think you have over him this race?
I think I found his weakness in the last race, and that is pressure, I think. He doesn't really like when I'm behind him or close to him, so I think that would be my secret weapon.
He gave you 1.1 seconds in qualifying, so what are you thinking?
Well, I have to figure something out, but speak of the devil. I don't know, I'll just do my thing as I always do.
What were the track conditions like? Obviously, you did the outlap. It's been raining, obviously. It's only stopped about 40 minutes ago, otherwise it had been raining about 3 hours before that heavy rainfall. Is the track drying out now?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a line coming up now. Not the whole track, but most of the track will be dry, I think, within 10 minutes, I think.
Was there any particular corners where it's still a bit wet or some spray coming off?
It's the same all around, I think.
Seem quite calm. You happy?
Of course. I'm racing.
Let's go speak to your teammate. Let's find Oliver. He was just here. Here he is. Come on, Oliver. Try not to get run over by your car. Obviously, starting 4th on the grid, Largim starting in the car. You're going to take the 2nd position. I just spoke to Largim about, what kind of advantage could you have over Bonduel? What's your opinion?
Well, the 3 seconds in the pit stop, maybe. But I think we have a really good car in the race, so I hope that's how we can beat him. So let's see.
Does this track suit you and your teammate?
I think the car suits us, the way we set it up. So
7.5 points to separate you from Bonduelle. You know, there's championship points on the line here. Is that getting to you, the pressure?
maybe a little bit, but I think both me and Lagen, we managed it pretty well. So I'm not too stressed about it.
Look, we're looking forward to it. Yeah. Good luck. Thank you.
So Amaury Bonduelle is a marked man by the sound of it. 7.5 points up in the championship. There is Amaury Bonduelle's car. He's on pole position again. So starting in the best place. And with him at the front of the grid, as we've been hearing, Mattia Michelotto, the second row, is going to be Alberto Di Folco, who's been a champion in his class many, many years ago, and Largim Ali lining up alongside, and then it's Stefan Tribodini and Georgi Dimitrov on the third row of the grid. Lots of new names have come into Lamborghini Super Trofeo this year, but the championship as competitive as ever across all of the classes. Alberto Di Folco then lining up third on the grid for Rexall Viorba Corsa. Let's rejoin Dakota.
Alberto, you've just given me your hand up, so is there an issue?
Yeah, somebody's speaking to me at the radio, so I cannot hear you right now.
Don't worry about that.
Okay.
Yeah, so we got Bonduelle in front.
Yeah.
He's super quick, and I know you were not very happy about the qualifying. These two others besides you, they're in championship contention, so are you going to back off, or are you going to get involved in this fight?
Never back off. I will do my job, and of course with respect for the others, of course. But you know, we have a good car. I'm happy about the quality, to be honest. Maybe it was too quick, but at the end it's a third position, so still happy. Now the race will be very challenging because they say dry track, but for me it's more damp than dry, so it will be fun in the first laps, we will see.
Now it feels really hot inside the cockpit. How hot is it in there? You look like you're sweating as well.
Yeah, I'm sweating, but to be honest, it's not so hot. Can be worse, so I'm okay for the moment.
In Bocca al Lupo, good luck for the race.
Stalwart Lamborghini racer Alberto Di Folco. So, quick recap. Pro, Amaury Bonduelle, 7.5 points ahead of Largim Ali and Oliver Söderström. And in Pro-Am, with a much bigger margin, Bronek Fomenek and Stefan Rossina, 74.5 against the 56 of Renaud Kuppens and Rui Miohas. In Am, Pier Giacomo Randazzo and Stefan Tribodini, 78 points, 50.5 for Stefan Guerin. And in the Lamborghini Cup, it is Petro Matic and Paolo Biglieri ahead by half a point from Holger Harmsen. Let's hear next from Amaury Bonduelle. He's a marked man. He's got Dakota with him.
I am sitting down here with the pole man. Amaury, now you've just taken your outlap and you've got back to the grid. How are the track conditions? Are there any particular corners that are still wet?
It's very tricky condition because we are with a dry tire. For the moment, I think the best option is wet tire, but with 45 car, the conditions change very, very fast, and I do my best.
Look, you're on slicks, and actually your other two competitors besides you who are in the championship contention are also on slick tyres. So you're all in the same, not boat, car or situation. But are you looking forward to the race? Are you a bit anxious?
No, I do my best, and we will see where we finish the race.
Good luck.
Thank you.
3 races to go after this, so banking points important. Championships can't be won today, but might be lost today if you have a bad result and start hemorrhaging points. But for Amaury Bonduelle, it is important to keep on scoring and scoring well. As he says, it's a very busy field of cars that we have with 45 in total. The one at the back being Claude-Yves Gosselin and Joran Lenetre's car. So that's going to make some progress, one would anticipate. 50-minute race, pit window between 20 and 30. There will be 2 formation laps. Alain Adon, the race director, has informed the teams. The second one normally takes the form of being within the time. So once the cars complete the first lap, the clock starts, but they carry on behind the safety car. And then the race gets underway at the end of that second lap. Georgi Dimitrov is 6th on the grid for Iron Lynx. And he also now is with Dakota.
Georgie, we're down here on P6. Now, it's quite hot in your car as well. It was the same in Di Folco's car. We've got a bit of a delay for the start, so you're going to have to hang in there a little bit longer. The battle in the front is going to be really intense. Are you going to get involved? or are you going to slowly back off?
Yeah, well, hoping to get involved in the battle in front. It's going to be a really tricky start as the track is still dampish. You know, it's not properly dry. So some drivers are on slick, some drivers are on wet. So we'll see how the race pans out. But yeah, just aiming to go on for as long as possible, play the long game, and see where we are at the end of the stint.
You're on slicks. Are you confident with your tyre choice?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've made the correct choice as a team, and yeah. Now it's time to play our own race and see how everything goes.
It's going to be a really exciting start. Thank you very much. Good luck, Georgie.
So the Iron Lynx driver gets ready for the 2 formation laps. There's the grid with the last engineers hanging by, ready to make sure that the engines fire. They'll then make their way off the circuit, and before long we will be in business then, ready for this first of 3 races of the weekend for Lamborghini Super Trofeo, the 2 scheduled races for here, and then those that were entered for Le Mans, and only those that were entered for Le Mans, can do the 3rd race, and it will be from that grid that was set for the race that would have run on the Saturday morning but didn't take place. So lots of track time afforded to the teams this weekend. Start having been delayed by 5 minutes for reasons that aren't immediately obvious, but I think now the countdown is underway. We've had the 5-minute board, and so it won't be long before the cars are released onto the formation lap. So number 83, the car from the Schumacher CLRT squad with the experienced Greg Gilver at the wheel. Greg Gilver, Peugeot champion, GT4 champion, coming into something a bit different this year for the Coleman-Edgar racing team element of Schumacher CLRT, driving in Super Trofeo, along with Simon Gachet, and it should be Simon Gachet to go second. Greg Gilver will start. Other drivers biding their time, keeping cool, ready for the formation lap to get underway. Alberto De Falco, as I say, from the 2nd row of the grid will certainly be a driver to watch. There in 57 is Igor Oroshev, that car for one of the solo drivers, starting 8th on the grid. And 28, Amaury Bonduel on slicks, on pole, and with the road drying fast then, getting ready for that 1-minute board at which engines will fire, and then we will almost be in business. 2 formation laps, we're getting closer then to the start of race 1 of 3 for Lamborghini Super Trofeo this weekend. These cars always make a great spectacle, great sight and sound. And on the Hankook rubber that they run on this year, a grid of lots of different teams, many stalwarts of Lamborghini Super Trofeo, including here Leipert Motorsport, for whom the Kiwi Brendan Leach drives, but also quite a few new ones have come in over the course of the season, including ASR, Autosport Racing Service. You've got the Schumacher CLRT team, Unique Racing, moving up from Clio's for Jerzy Spinkovics, and also coming in new Pegasus Racing, for whom Dimitri Engelbert and Anthony Nahra star. Right, the 1-minute board shown, doors closed, engines fire, grid cleared, and with the Lamborghini Urus at the front of the queue, we're almost ready to go. Mechanics making their way off the grid, some through the gap, some over the wall, but everybody off the circuit. And the Lamborghini Urus leading car will blast away in a moment, ready to control this formation lap number 1. And a chance for the drivers to see how much the road has dried in those 15 minutes or so that they've been sitting on the grid. 15 seconds now on the clock. So very shortly, indeed now, away goes the leading car, and the race cars have to wait. Once that green flag is waved, we'll be in business And away blasts Amaury Bonduelle, chased by the drone then as they go down the pit straight. 45 Lamborghini Huracans then ready to go racing with Amaury Bonduelle and Mattia Michelotto at the front. The second row of the grid is where you find Alberto Di Folco and Largim Ali. Third row, Stefan Tribodini on the inside, and Georgi Dimitrov starts alongside him. Greg Gilbert goes from 7th, Igor Oroshev from 8th. 9th on the grid, Brendan Leach, and starting 10th is Giorgio Amati. 11th is Jakob Riegel, and Leonardo Caglioni for the Oregon team will line up on the outside of the row. Then Pietro Parolini also for Oregon, and the experienced Stefan Lemray for CMR, ahead of Dimitri Angelbert and Joachim Galash. Next up, Paul Levey and Rodrigo Testa, ahead of Quentin Antonel and Stefan Guerin, solo drivers both. Guido Lucchetti comes next, ahead of Stefan Bostangiv, who we've seen in the past in GT4. Ibrahim Badawi lines up alongside Adrian Lewandowski, going solo, his dad not in the entry for this. Jerzy Spinkovic has Charlie Martin alongside. Julian Hahn comes next alongside Lola Lovenfoss. On the 15th row, there's Renault Kuppens for Boots and VDS that had a GT3 win earlier on in the day. And for aggressive Team Italia is Karim Ogier. Luciano Privitello starts on the 16th row alongside Diego De Fabio. Shota Alcazar is next with Marco Gersager alongside him. Cedric Lima and Cyril Salai come next on row 18. Row 19 is the disabled driver Nigel Bay with his specially adapted car, and Oliver Freimuth alongside. Holger Harmston is on row 20, as also is Alfredo Hernandez Ortega. Then Alessio Ruffini for ASR, and in the sister car Petra Matic. Next up, Ronit Formanek, a long way back on the grid. Hampus Eriksson, former single-seater racer in the UK, comes next, and Claude-Yves Gosselin rounds out the grid. Claude-Yves Gosselin, who was once a Formula 3000 racer, has hardly missed a season as well. Hugely experienced and really enjoys GT-style racing, does Claude. For many, many years, he was part of the Paul Belmondo racing stable in FIA GT Chrysler Vipers, but still racing many, many years on is Claude-Yves Gosselin. So the second formation lap gets underway, and the pace at which the Urus is going, quite impressive, because the field is really rather strung out, but they'll get themselves into formation at the end of this lap, and the clock has started. So all of this eats into the 50 minutes of racing. But it's purely because they've had no wet running all day, no real data, no real experience of what they can base this on. Lots of weaving around to get warmth into the tyres, get the pressures up, ready for the start of the race. Largim Ali here, the Danish driver, starting 4th on the grid. Accelerate and brake. The brake temperature then goes through the tyres, gets the tyres up to temperature that little bit quicker, and just makes it all round being a bit safer. There the cars coming towards turn 6, that little kink, and then 7 and 8, which is the left-right, then up the hill. Turn 9 beckons at the top of it. 14 corners in total on this 4.6 kilometre long lap. So for ASR, this is Mattia Michelotto ready to pounce the outside of the front row. The cars getting themselves into formation now. Amaury Bonduelle, the man on pole position, and the fans in the grandstand who've had a busy day. A bit of frustration in GT3 when the racing was affected markedly by incidents and by the weather. But whether it's been McLaren, GT3, GT2, or now Lamborghini, they've had a great day of racing with some of the best GT brands on display, and perhaps the best of them all is about to have 46 minutes, give or take, once they get out of the last corner of racing ready to go. Mattia Michelotto, number 6, then the all-gold car of Amaury Bonduelle, one to watch off pole position. Amaury Bonduelle trying to bank more points for the championship here. So Bonduelle, 4 wins he has had. Lagim Ali and Oliver Söderström have been banking points. And Mattia Michelotto a long, long way back. He's not completely out of the hunt, but it's a Herculean task, really, to try to do very much about the championship leader, Amaury Bonduelle, who brings the cars now then down towards turn 14. Will turn his way through, and as the lights on the gantry are red, it's going to be about 46 minutes and 40 seconds when they blink to green. We are set to go racing now then, as race 1 of the weekend blasts into life, and a very, very good start made from a little bit further back on the grid by number 70, which is the car of Jakob Riegel. But as they dive down in towards turn 1, Bonduelle it is in the lead. On the outside line, the white car is Michelotto. And Lagim Ali looking to try to gain ground as Bonduelle goes deep into turn 1, and he's run out of road completely, I fear, as he's gone through the gravel. You see the mid-pack going through, but we need to see where the race leader is and who the race leader is, because it looks as though Bonduelle, yes, he has dropped it. He's fallen back into 3rd place, so he arrived too quickly, couldn't get the car slowed down. He's used the escape road, and so Bonduelle drops back, and it is Mattia Michelotto in the lead of the race then. Amaury Bonduelle trying to defend 3rd as they run up towards turn 4. So leading is Michelotto, 2nd is De Falco, Bonduelle is 3rd, Dimitrov is 4th, Tribodini 5th, Gachet 6th, and an error made by Amaury Bonduelle then down at the first corner. And you could see it coming, couldn't you? Just off the line the car took, but he made a right mess of it, and now he's going to try to rebuild the race. Amaury Bonduelle then down in 3rd. He was able to repel the challenge of Georgi Dimitrov, and now the cars make that run up towards turn 7. So Bonduelle has got the former F4 racer right on his tail. They make the climb up towards turn 9 now on this first proper racing lap. And after that great getaway now, Mattia Michelotto, the Le Mans Friday race winner, trying to make good his escape as Bonduelle regroups and talking on the grid about slicks and whether or not there's going to be enough grit. Well, it was a bit tippy-toey for quite a few of them. Bonduelle first onto the corner as the pioneer from pole, and it all went wrong from there. But he'll be able to regroup, I'm sure, as the lap goes on. The Target Racing entry you were on board with there of Lagim Ali, number 9. And he likewise is trying to chip his way forward. There are lots of class battles going on, one of which is headed by Tribodini, another by Brendan Leach. But as the race leaders then drop down towards turn 14, Amaury Bonduelle, having given away the lead to Mattia Michelotto, now he's inching back up onto the tail of Alberto De Falco for 2nd place. So Michelotto leads, De Falco 2nd, Bonduelle 3rd, Dimitrov is 4th, Tribodini 5th. So Lagim Ali was also in strife at the first corner going deep. He's dropped back into 8th behind Gachet and Orozhov as well. He's ahead of Jakob Riegel and them. Number 14, which should have been Pietro Parolini as the start driver, but is being shown on the timing screen as being Kevin Gilardoni. So question mark over that. Gilardoni was not indicated to be the start driver, but is in the car. So there's a question mark now over who it is that's behind the wheel. Gilardoni, we know, he's quick, so it would make sense if it is him behind the wheel. So there up front, Mattia Michelotto. And deep again, Amaury Bonduelle. Into the corner he goes. '27, you can see a little bit further back in the queue. That's Stéphane Lemeray. And as the field accelerates now, down towards turn 6, the race leader, Mattia Michelotto, doing his best to get away from the opposition now. So there is the, spin in the background. 2 of them have gone. Mattia Michelotto leads, but in trouble there. One of them trying to rejoin, looks like being 83. Now that is going to be the Greg Gilbert, Simon Gachet, Schumacher CLRT car that does get going, but has split up the pack rather as others have scattered around it. There's another one involved that has dropped back as well. So as the leaders come through, Mattia Michelotto leads the way from in 2nd spot now, Alberto De Falco, Amaury Bonduelle 3rd, and then in 4th place, Georgi Dimitrov. Lagim Ali is up in a 5th place. I think it was Stefan Tribodini who was the other one that dropped back in that contretemps at turn 10, because he's also fallen way, way down the order. Kevin Gilardoni getting on with the programme in number 14 now, working his way forward. And another big commitment on the inside there, comes to nothing. And there is that Tribodini with damage. He's not pitted, and it is Tribodini. and he's gone across the line. I think he might have a flat left rear. Looks as though in the contact maybe that's done a tyre, but he's not pitted, and so Tribodini now going to try to limp on, and that is going to make life very, very difficult indeed if he's got to do a whole 5 kilometres, give or take, on a punctured tyre. So big problems for Stefan Tribodini as he accelerates on. Side by side there, 27 on the inside line is Stefan Lemre, on the outside line Brendan Leach, so two quick drivers accelerating their way now on towards turns 7 and 8. So battle is on as the leaders sprint their way up now towards turn 9. But up front, Mattia Michelotto being able, at least for the moment, to build a bit of a gap over the opposition. The Lemre and Leach battle continues with Stefan Lemre using all of his experience to good effect here. And to the inside line goes number 99 then, so that's going to give Brendan Leach the place. And out wide goes Stefan Lemre. Also in on the act now goes Rodrigo Testa, number 50, and Testa goes by as well. So Lemre losing out on this lap as he falls back in the traffic. The race leaders go by. Mattia Michelotto is ahead. There's a yellow flag out in sector 1 as there through goes number 41, that is Stefan Bostangiv's car. He's up behind Guido Lucchietti, and as they drop down towards turn 1, great battles go on all the way up and down the field. The beauty of the championship is, and there's the reason for the yellow car up against the wall, that's coming out of turn 14. So it's in that pit straight that we've got the car up against the barriers, so problems for Bronek Fomenek by the look of it, who's got it wrong coming out of turn 14 and charged the wall. I was about to say one of the beauties of this is everyone's got somebody to play against, and whoops, another big lose at the end of the pit straight. Just plugging a wheel into the gravel is Shota Abkazova in the Artline Georgia entry. He'll try and rejoin, but hopefully he's not got too many wheels into the gravel, and that becomes a problem for him. We will see. So in the meantime, the race leaders battle on towards turn 10, and right now, getting away is Mattia Michelotto. This is looking good for him. Another one in the gravel, and that could be the Stefan Lemre car. I don't think it is, looking at the number, but it's a similar livery, and it's all hidden behind the barrier. Number 10 it is, that is off the road, and that is Guido Lucchetti. So Lucchetti off the road, and the safety car is being deployed. That rejoining is Abkazova from turn 1, but we have the safety car on track then. So that is going to frustrate Mattia Michelotto. It's going to lose him his lead in terms of the gap. He'll keep the position, of course, but there limping on is Stefan Tribodini with his puncture. That was, as I suggested at the time, a legacy of the contact. Right, so the safety car deployed, it scooped up Mattia Michelotto. And the field turning its way now down through turn 1. So Shota Abkazova's car has got going again, but Bronek Fomenek has also, I think, been able to rejoin. If you look in the background, the road is clear. So that now hopefully means that we can get things back underway pretty soon. The two cars that were in awkward places have now been able to get going again. So we had Shota Abkazova off at turn 1, we had Fomenek off at turn 14, and there you've got the other one in the gravel trying to move, but I don't think it can, coming out of turn 3. So that is the end of Guido Lucchetti. So frustration in the car, no question about it, and that one that's off the road, still trying to piece together who we've lost. So Lucchetti we know is gone. Cedric Lima possibly is one that we've lost. Yes, it is. It's Cedric Lima, number 63, in the Auto Vitesse car. Whether those two incidents are connected or whether they're separate remains to be seen. I think they're separate, looking at where they are around the racetrack, but we shall check. So both of these need to be retrieved. So Largim Ali, you're on board with. 5th now, Georgi Dimitrov ahead. And so the 2 cars that need to be retrieved, ready to be hoiked out of the way. Once that's done, we should be able to go back racing. There's the replay of Fomenek into the wall, possibly with a tap from behind. And then the first lose, a spin into the gravel. And Lima got it wrong all on his own as well. So those 2 completely isolated and all self-induced for Cedric Lima, who's been a Lamborghini stalwart over many, many years, and also for Guido Luchetti. And there, still limping round to the pit lane, is Stefan Tribodini. So he's lost a lap, even under safety car conditions, he's lost a lap. They're all streaming past him. He's done a good job, if anything, not to incur bodywork damage. Stefan Tribodini really has nursed it round. And a 5-second time penalty for car number 83 added to the final racing time for causing a collision. And 83 is Greg Gilbert and Simon Gachet. Greg Gilbert at the wheel of the car, and that was for the contact against Stefan Tribodini. So 83, Greg Gilbert gets a time penalty. Oh, sorry, Simon Gachet gets the time penalty. It is now being shown as him as the driver, not Greg Gilbert, which is not how it was shown on the grid. So confusion again in another car as to who was the start driver. Starting driver is normally marked on the grid sheet, but in some cases that's gone haywire. So Mattia Michelotto is the leader by 1.4 seconds while we have the safety car. Now, as Mattia Michelotto leads, his co-driver Andrea Frassinetti is watching all of this in the pit lane. Let's go back to join Dakota.
Andrea, ho visto che tu hai sentito la macchina, che dici?
No, mi ha spiegato un po' com'era la pista, perché fra poco probabilmente entrerò, e quindi Mattia adesso ha fatto un bel lavoro fin dall'inizio, è riuscito, un buon duello, ha sbagliato, quindi adesso siamo in testa e speriamo di fare molto bene.
Sei pronti per andare in macchina?
Sì, molto pronto.
What Andrea said was, I said to him that he had been hearing on the radio, you can go get dressed now, he's just about to jump in the car. What I had said is that I saw that he was listening to the radio, and he said that obviously he spoke to the teammate, not by word, but he heard that Bonduella had made a mistake, and that obviously was in his advantage, and he was a little bit explaining how the track conditions were. Obviously things are drying out now, so everything is looking good. I also asked Andrea if he was ready to go in the car, which he reassured me that he is ready to take over.
And that takeover is not that far away, because the pit window is only about 4 minutes away, assuming that it's green at that time and the race director doesn't feel the need to delay the pit window at all. But right now, as the car of Cedric Lima is retrieved, the race has got 34 minutes left within it, and number 28, Amaury Bonduelle, is also under investigation, as also is Largam Ali, because they both made mistakes at turn 1, but they're under investigation for rejoining the track the wrong side of the bollard. There is a track limit bollard, and the drivers are told you must have it on the right-hand side of the car before you rejoin, not the left, because that means you've sort of cut the corner a bit. And it seems as though that may not have happened. May not, emphasise, it's being looked at rather than a penalty given. But Amaury Bonduelle's travails could be getting worse here rather than better. He's dropped places. The field is bunched up under the safety car, so that's the good news. But a penalty, if he did rejoin the wrong place, is not going to be helpful whatsoever. There's confirmation, as you see the race control graphic, telling the drivers, or telling everybody, because they'll see it on the timing screen in the pit lane and can relate to the drivers, that Bonduelle now is being looked at for a possible infraction. Right, so another lap done by the race leader as they come through. Yellow lights still are flashing. And so now on to the approach to turn 1, they will go. All of the drivers trying to maintain warmth in the tyres, pressure in the tyres. And the safety car will be in this lap. So as they turn now up towards the right-hander of turn 4, you see Alberto Di Folco suddenly accelerate up onto the tail of the leading car, stands on the brakes, nearly puts the thing on its nose, but certainly getting ready for the resumption of the race. And when we do so, we will go almost straight into the pit window, because they'll do about a lap before the pit window is ready to open. So the race leaders are on lap number 8, turning now into turn 9. Stefan Tribodini, I should say, after his puncture, is playing catch-up. Trouble is, although he's circulating again, he's lost 2 laps as a legacy of that hugely slow drive round of the pit lane. So Tribodini circulating, hoping he might be able to salvage some points, but it's a forlorn hope. From 2 laps down, he needs lots of other people to have a lot of bad luck, really. So ready for the resumption of the race then. They're bringing the cars up now into turn 12 is the race leader, Mattia Michelotto. Right up behind him, you can see Alberto Di Folco, who is absolutely determined, even if he can't win a championship, he wants to win a race. And Di Folco, we know he's good. He was in the GT World Challenge Europe entry last year. Safety car is in, and now it is up to Mattia Michelotto to decide when to go. He goes now, coming into turn 14, pulls a margin of a length or so over Alberto Di Folco behind him. Up towards the timing line they come, and the race back underway. Those at the very, very back of the queue might be able to pit this time, because the window is about 20 seconds away from opening. Down to turn 1, Di Folco looks on the inside, can't find a way by there. And behind, Amaury Bonduelle is still in 3rd place. Georgi Dimitrov looking good 4th. And then Largim Ali in 5th spot as they wriggle their way up through turns 1, 2 and 3, where the road climbs and turns right. Out wide goes Bonduelle. There is one heading for the pits early doors, incidentally, as you see Brendan Leach going round the outside. The one that pits right at the start of the window is number 32, where Petra Matic will give way to Paolo Biglieri. And another one coming in right at the start of the window is for Alessio Ruffini to give away to Milos Pavlovic. So they're out of the same stable, and a big slide under braking by Di Folco. Was a little bit wide into the corner was Michelotto. It is certainly game on between those two on the resumption of the race, as right now the cars are on lap number 9, and down they drop out of turn 5, plunge downhill on the outside line there, back in the Lamborghini Cup contests. You see the battles rage on. Amaury Bonduelle, though, not being able to take much advantage on that restart, about gaining ground. A bit frustrating for him, all of that. Not able to make progress as they come again down into the right-hander of turn 10. Di Folco possibly looking a bit better on this restart as Bonduelle goes deep into the corner, and that gives Georgi Dimitrov a chance to think about a move on the inside. Couldn't do it, but there was certainly intent shown there. So the race leaders currently heading towards turn 14. Battles on in the mid-pack. And although there's a lot of cars, there's one facing the wrong way coming up the hill from turn 10. I notice in the distance, the leader goes through. Michelotto is now regrouping and building that gap over Alberto Di Folco in 2nd place and diving for the pit lane now that the window is open. First in the bright yellow car 41. So into the pit lane now comes Stefan Bostangiv to give way to Pavel Lefterov. Also in is Simon Gachet, also in is Renault Kuppens, so the pit lane getting very, very busy indeed. The drone chases the pack down the pit road. The leader, Mattia Michelotto, 7/10 ahead, and that was the car that was facing the wrong way. It is Karim Auger for aggressive Team Italia, and he'll be a very frustrated Karim Auger because another puncture, not suggesting it's a tyre issue. That may well have been contact that tapped him into a spin, and therefore the contact did the tyre at the same time. But Auger's got to limp back to the pit lane. Others that have made their pit stops rejoined there, number 2. That is going to be given now to the Israeli driver Rui Miuhas, as others arrive at their pit box, including there, look, number 26, which is the Cyril Salai entry for Scuderia Viola Corsa. Karim Mojé has made it to the pit lane, and Alberto De Falco is under attack all of a sudden because Amaury Bonduelle is right up behind him. There, Mattia Michelotto is getting away. So that gap is increasing all the while now as they sprint up the hill, and Bonduelle getting much, much closer to De Falco. This is enabling Michelotto to build the gap. He is getting away up front, most definitely. Downhill they drop again. Up the curb goes Bonduelle. A race leader heading to the timing line then. So Mattia Michelotto, 7/10 of a second to the good last time. It's going to be about 1.7, if not more, I would offer you this time through. Others bail for the pit lane to get those mandatory stops out of the way. The lead gap, in fact, 2.3 seconds. So a huge gap has been opened up then by Mattia Michelotto. Into the pit lane there, the piratical Oregon team car, number 61. So that is the Leonardo Caglioni car. So down the pit road he comes, others flee the pits. And a big, big lose there. That's Tribodini off the road. He's got that new tyre on the car. And then he gets it all wrong coming out of turn 11, I think, through 12. But he's off the road. The yellow flag's withdrawn. So Stefan Tribodini, yeah, 12 into 13 it was. Gets going again. But big, big scare for him. I thought for a moment it was the leader as well, given the livery. But it's all right for Michelotto. He continues to push on, continues to build that gap over the rest of them. Now, a 20-second penalty is being given to number 13, which is Stefan Guerin, to 15, which is Alberto Di Falco and Benedetto Strignano, and to Amaury Bonduelle, and that is for cutting the bollard and not rejoining in the right place. The next one facing the wrong way is Claude Yves Gosselin in the background, but these two cars battling for second and third places being given a 20-second penalty, and that is effectively for track limits, because when you run off the road at turn 1, you've got to stay with the bollard on your right, not on the left when you rejoin. And that means as Bonduelle pits, he did not do that, nor did Di Falco. So Amaury Bonduelle then is going to plunge down the order. In he comes. So frustrated Bonduelle and a frustrated Di Falco as well, who will get that message in due course. Now, whether the teams elect to do it now, so the driver knows what their race position is, or just get them to keep on pushing and then tell them at the end, different teams have different plans. But as Amaury Bonduelle arrives at his team, he stops the all-gold car, and for BDR Competition by Gruppo Promo, the team goes to work now. The Gruppo Promotion team check the tyre pressures. There's not much they can do. The driver doesn't need to get out and get back in again. He just has to sit there for 3 seconds longer than the double driver entries. So this, in a sense, should throw a lifeline to Lagimali, who was looked at for the bollard, but he was in the right place and nothing's come of it for him. There is De Falco now with Georgi Dimitrov chasing after him. Georgi Dimitrov, number 43, in the Iron Link car that he shares with Edgar Morin. And as the pair of them accelerate their way out of turn number 9 onto that back straight, there's another penalty coming, and that is for car number 11. Which is the Bronick Formanek Stefan Rossina car. It was in the wall. He's now been given a 30-second penalty for not respecting the lights at the end of the pit lane. So there, number 50 is Rodrigo Testa, currently running in 8th place. Others for the pit lane, including their Kevin Gilardoni for Oregon. So wriggling their way through the cycle of pit stops. Out the other side goes Bonduelle, back into the race. And he drops down the field, but he will drop down more for the ultimate so Mattia Michelotto continues to lead on track. There, number 70, which is another of those that has cycled itself through. Jakob Riegel has now given way to Sebastian Balthazar, And Amaury Bonduel, with this penalty to be applied for the bollard offence at the first corner, will fall down the order, as will this car, which has committed the same offence. Alberto Di Falco now gives way, and into the Oregon team, sorry, Scuderia Viola Corsa entry, I should say, gets Benedetto Strignano. But Alberto Di Falco, I think, the quicker of the two in that car, but he has, by dint of being off the road and not rejoining properly, given them a bit of work to do. Largim Ali and Oliver Söderström, that car yet to stop. Largim Ali doing a long first stint, the Danish driver. And they've got a chance here to really gain ground in the championship, with Bonduel having this track limit infringement. Number 3 also pushing on still, which is the Adrian Lewandowski car, going solo, Dowd not driving. To the outside line goes Bonduel, trying to find a way by. Bonduel through, runs it a little bit wide. And to the pit lane now comes then Adrian Lewandowski. Next one to be penalised for speeding in the pit lane and getting a drive-through penalty is Karim Auger, sort of adding insult to injury, really, given that he had a punctured tyre, which is why he had to come into the pits in the first place after contact turned him around, and then as he had a new tyre on and accelerated back into the race, speeds in the pit lane. So the speed guns being busy, so they'll cross the line at the end of the next 21 minutes, and then a lot of unravelling will be happening of penalties, especially if you are short on pit stops time, the regulation pit stop time. We haven't even got to that bit of the race yet. At the moment, it's all other infractions that people have committed. So Mattia Michelotto, race leader, is now into the pits. And ready to rejoin there, number 77 down the pit road, the Alfredo Hernandez Ortega solo entry, another of the BDR competition cars, teammate therefore to Amaury Bonduel, even though they're in different classes. Right, so that's now pretty much everybody that has done a stop. And Amaury Bonduel also being given a driving standards flag for track limits. That's in addition to rejoining in the wrong place with the dreaded bollard. And it's all here at turn 1. There, going through, is 61. So that car from the Oregon team now passed into the hands for the second stint of the race to Enzo Garacci. And number 14 that was being driven early on by Kevin Gilardoni, now being driven by Pietro Perolini. He takes over for the second part of the race. So Michelotto ready to rejoin, and we'll see where he is in relation to the others that have made their pit stops when he rejoins. That car now with Frasinetti at the wheel is back on track. And there it is, in the lead, just. So Frasinetti up front, and in second place now is Edgar Malouin, having taken over from Georgi Dimitri, and so Malouin right there behind. Amaury Bonduel tries to get around the outside of the traffic and does so. Race leader towards us then. So there, Alessandro Frasinetti ahead. In second place, Edgar Malouin. And up to third now comes Amaury Bonduel. So the one that's lost out a little bit on all of this is Oliver Söderström in for Largim Ali. And Bonduel catching back up onto the tail of Malouin here as he goes up the inside. Thought better of it, couldn't make it stick. And the leader, Frasinetti, not getting up to speed quite as quickly on his outlap here as Malouin is doing. It's a very good first lap behind the wheel by Edgar Malouin. They came out of the pit lane nose to tail, and Malouin looking very, very racy indeed. All of this adding further pressure onto Frasinetti, who's trying to get himself up to speed now and hang on to position at the same time. So through they come once more. A big send on the inside line by Malouin. On the outside line is Bonduel, and he's going to go round the outside. Yes, gains second place. Good move, that. So through goes Amaury Bonduel. It's a real shame he's got this penalty hanging over him, because he's showing great pace here as he tries to get past a sideways Frasinetti, who has the car go out wide. Up the inside line goes Bonduel. That for the race lead, and he goes by. Great move. Amaury Bonduel seizes the opportunity. Wide coming out of turn 13 then goes Frasinetti. He's got himself in all sorts of strife, and that now gives Edgar Malouin a chance to challenge. And coming into the mix as well is Oliver Söderström in the black and green colours as they come pounding past the pits again. Through they go, down towards turn 1. So Amaury Bonduelle leads on the road, but then you've got this penalty to apply at the end of the race. Yellow flag, middle sector now. There's the reason, because around being able to rejoin, but around has got number 49, which is John Seal, taking over from Charlie Martin. Looks like that car might have damage because it's not rejoining as rapidly as one might have anticipated. 17 minutes of the race to go now. So Amaury Bonduelle up front, and Frasinetti second, falling back after that good stint by Michelotto. The pit stop was a slow one. It was 2 minutes. Sorry, no, it wasn't. It was 1 minute 58. So he lost a little bit of time to Edgar Malloy. I think it was just a really troubled outlap by Alessandro Frasinetti, and that's really what's done for him, because Bonduelle was easily able to get up with them and go through, even though he had a longer pit stop. He had to defend from Malloy, which would have wasted some of the time and the energy, and now he can't really respond. So you've got Frasinetti second, Malloy third, and this man, Soderstrom, in fourth place as they again run down the back straight. So Oliver Soderstrom keeping at bay Strignano, who has taken over from Alberto Di Folco, but again, that's another car with a penalty looming over it. Number 70, Sebastian Balthazar. You've seen in the past that he's quick. And John Seal, who has always had a passion for racing GT-style cars. This is the replay. Oh, gosh. Under braking, suddenly something seems to pitch him sideways into number 69. That car coming off pretty badly. And Marco Gersager also in trouble, but maybe something broke under braking there from John Seal. I was going to say, he's always had a passion for racing GT-style cars, but the safety car deployed again. So our second intervention of the race for the safety car, and that's really bad news for Bonduelle. It was bad enough that he had that time penalty to be applied anyway, but if the pack stays bunched to the end, or towards the end, then that's really bad news, because he's going to lose yet more places. So safety car deployed to get stranded cars out of harm's way. And all of this with just 15 minutes on the clock. Bad news for those drivers with penalties. Good news for Frasinetti, because he's back onto the tail now of the leader and should be able to inherit the lead come the end of the race when the penalties are applied. So this was the earlier move. Bonduelle round the outside of Edgar Malloy for third place. And then able to make the move against Frasinetti. He was second coming up the hill, but Frasinetti here got sideways, and Bonduelle, with a gap opening up ahead of him, got the drive off the corner, and through he went. And all of that happening just before the safety car. But now, with them all bunched up, as I say, this is bad news for Bonduelle and Benedetto Strignano, with these penalties to be applied. Making the run up towards turn 12, 14 minutes on the clock now. So Amaury Bonduelle comes down towards turn 14 and sees the safety car flags and boards. Slows right down. There is the safety car ready to move on instruction, and the pack slows right down. Into the pit lane comes number 14, Pietro Perellini, in the Oregon entry. Now he's got a problem, because clearly that car's already made a stop for the driver change. So Pietro Perellini for Oregon down the pit road. Leaders turning their way out of the first corner. 13 minutes on the clock now. Safety car not yet with its lights on, incidentally, but the safety car procedure is underway. So everybody bunches up. There are a few stragglers still coming up through turn 12. It's amazing, even though we've had one safety car period, how quickly the classes break apart, if you like. So the AMS battle, the Lamborghini Cup entrance battle, and it takes a while to get them all back into one long queue, but that'll happen in a moment or two, I'm sure. So the race leader on lap 17 now. And it looks as though Matteo Michelotto and Andrea Frassinetti are going to come out on top, with the penalty being applied. Pietro Perolini for Oregon still in the pit, so the problem that's brought him in is a serious enough one to keep him there. And in the meantime, number 27 there, Stéphane Lamoureux, turning the car downhill. Lamoureux started, and it's now aboard that car Rodrigo Gillion behind the wheel. 76 is from the Schumacher CLRT stable. Now Laurent Hergon on the wheel, who we've seen go well in his Alpine in GT4 European Series. Rather dominant in the AM class. Karim Auger, after his puncture and penalty, down in 42nd place, but still circulating, albeit a lap down. There, number 66 is the car that Stefan Tribodini had the puncture in and a spin in, but that car soldiers on now with Pier Giacomo Randazzo at the wheel. So the field turning down through turn 10. The race leader currently Amaury Bonduelle, but with the whole pack queued up behind him, and with a 20-second penalty to be applied. This is an absolute kick in the watsits for Bonduelle, because he's got decreasing amounts of opportunity to try to build a gap and salvage any places at all before the end of the race. So really, really bad news. Race leaders turn through again. There, number 49 now having a 10-second penalty applied for causing a collision, and 49 is John Seal and Charlie Martin's car. Well, it's been irrelevant because it's out of the race, but it is deemed to be at fault, so it didn't look as though it was a John Seal mistake. It did look as though it was something mechanical that caused the car to grab and to slide into the traffic, but either way, he has been deemed the guilty party. So the safety car into the last 10 minutes of the race now, which is, again, bad news for Bonduelle, because it decreases the amount of time he's got. And the more of a safety car period we have, the fewer laps he's going to get at the end. To build up anything like 20 seconds in a one-make category, well, good luck with that, as they say, because it's going to be almost impossible. Safety car lights still on, so we're not there yet for that car to be brought back into the pit lane. Still, the race needs to be under safety car conditions just to make sure that everything is good around the circuit. So the drivers keeping tyre pressures up, keeping tyre temperatures up. 8.5 minutes to go. Number 68 is now being given a penalty of 9/10 of a second, 68 being Diego Di Fabio and Lucas Valkyrie. Let's hear next, though, from Brendan Leach. Dakota is with him in the pit lane.
Now, Brendan, this is a special race for you, a sort of one-off to return back to Super Trofeo after such a good year last year at the World Finals. Obviously, your first leading Pro-Am at the moment. Is there anything you're particularly worried about?
There's a couple of quick cars behind, but I don't doubt Tony will, he'll have his hands full on the restart, but I'm sure he's up to the challenge. We had a tricky start, got taken out by another yellow car on the first lap, so lost a lot of ground. Managed to get most of it back, but it would have been nicer to be a little bit further forward, give us a bit of a buffer, but yeah, like I said, I think Tony's up to the challenge, and he should just send it to the finish.
Obviously, there's not really a lot you can say because the pit stops are so quick and you guys change very quickly, and there's obviously no radios in the car, so you can't really talk to each other. But have you heard any feedback that, might spark your interest that he's saying in the car at the moment?
I didn't hear you too well, but I did. I gave him some feedback under the safety car, just with the conditions. It's actually quite tricky out there. It's very hard to see where the track is wet, so it's just by feeling. So just giving him some guidance on where he should place the car and where to avoid, because it's pretty tricky out there if you go offline, and you can lose the car very quickly, as you've seen, I'm sure, on TV.
Last question, how does it feel being back in a Lamborghini with 45 car field?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, this car is fantastic. It's a lot of fun. A little bit more grip would be good, but I'm sure it'll be dry tomorrow. So
good luck for the rest of the race. Thank you.
And Brendan Leach knows about grip, having had a spell, of course, in GT3 Lamborghinis as well. But very impressive he was last year. Good to have him back. And with 6 3/4 minutes on the clock still, we are still behind the safety car. As I say, there are penalties to be applied now for the pit stops being short for some. And the field coming up towards the end of lap number 19. So for Amaury Bonduelle leading the way, the frustration he's building in that car, especially given that up into 3rd place and therefore decent points ought to be Söderström and Ali come the end of the race, and that's the main worry for Bonduelle within the championship. But he's got another race here out of the Barcelona doubleheader, and of course he's got the Le Mans replacement race, so still got opportunities to build back up in the championship. The light's still on the safety car, so no suggestion yet that we're going to go back racing because it comes up through turn 9. But the lights, if they are going to go out on the lap, will be around the turn 10 area. So in due course, that car, if the instruction comes from race control, will be able to extinguish the lights, and then we'll be back ready to go racing. Down through turn 10 they come. See how much of the circuit some of the drivers are using, still trying to maintain tyre temperature. The safety car heads up the hill, and there John Seal gets aboard the recovery vehicle. That'll be brought back to the pit lane, and he and Charlie Martin then will hopefully be back on track tomorrow, car repaired. So through turn 14 comes the leader. So one more lap at least behind the safety car. John Seal's car being recovered, but not yet off the circuit. So the fact that it's taken a while does suggest it was a mechanical failure that caused it to pitch into that big slide, rather than driver error, because had it not had a mechanical problem, it could have been moved a bit faster, a bit more easily, a bit more of a simple task. The circuit's going to echo for quite a long time to Lamborghinis, because at the end of the race, the Lamborghini VIP laps take place, where road-going cars take to the circuit. One will leave the circuit shortly, and that's the safety car, because it's in this time. And that's going to give us about 3 minutes, I suspect, when we go back racing. So a couple of laps all. That's all. See the field on a circuit that's pretty much dry now. Yes, it might have been a bit tippy-toey to begin with, but the road now virtually bone dry and ready for the final couple of laps of racing. Safety car then in this lap. Lights will be extinguished, and we will be in business very shortly indeed. So there, coming out of turn 5, they drop down the hill. Leader's already up at turn 8. And I think Amaury Bonduelle has got the message from the team that the safety car will be in this time, because he's almost overtaking it. He's sort of trying to force the safety car to go faster so they can get as many racing laps in as possible, so he can try and build a gap over as many cars as he can. It's going to be a very, very hard ask to build up anything like a gap over Frasinetti. But if he can just salvage a class position and get half decent points, it's better than nothing. So they come up towards, with the lights out now, turn 12. So this is where Bonduelle backs it all off, ready to pull the pin and try and jump away from Andrea Frasinetti. Down they come towards turn 14 shortly. Over the brow, this is where the road drops, and the cars sort of tumble their way down towards turn 14. 2 3/4 minutes and counting. Fastest lap of the race, 1 minute and 45, so they're going to get 2 in, just. Right, now Bonduelle accelerates and blasts away comes up towards the timing line, but he would do with those behind. I mean, a big old squabble and delaying themselves. Andrea Frasinetti sits in the wheel tracks as they come down towards turn 1. All he has to do is sit there now, really, with this penalty hanging over Bonduelle. Through turn 1 they come, nose to tail the 2 race leaders. In 3rd place it is Edgar Malloy. Up into 4th place then is Oliver Söderström, number 9, then in the green and black car, wriggling his way up through 1 or 2 back markers, including their number 57. That is a lap down, that car, so that doesn't really need to be factored into the equation, other than 1 or 2 going wide as they try and maintain the momentum and indeed lap that slower car that has fallen back a little bit now. In fact, it's not lapped, it is Edgar Orechev who has fallen down the pack a little bit, but he is on the lead lap. Apologies to him. So Edgar Orechev is there or thereabouts, albeit not with a very quick restart, and that's caused cars to scatter either side of him. So through goes Söderström. Oliver Söderström in 3rd place now, having got himself up past Edgar Malloy as well. Orechev now getting the tyres up to temperature, a little bit more committed, and coming back at 42 of Jesse Salmonautio. He's another one pushing forward. Salmonautio that we've seen in World Challenge Europe for Mad Panda in the past, and the very quick underrated Finn pushing on, getting forward all the while here. So they come out of turn 9 down that back straight. There's 1 minute and 15 on the clock, so the last lap coming up this time is to the inside line there. Whoops, bit of contact. Was that Salmonautio trying to be a bit keen? Under braking, looked like he might well have been. Bit of hip and shoulder between them as Jesse Spinkovic, number 25, goes by on the inside line, moving up from Clio Euro Cup. Very rapid, committed Clio racer he was, Jesse Spinkovic. Right, the leaders come down towards the last corner and ready to start the last lap of the race then. So 2 safety car periods have taken some of the ability to build a gap out of it for Amaury Bonduelle, but with all the squabbling behind him, more cars in the gravel at 14 and more cars running wide there as well at 10, it is all kicking off. And the one that's gone through the gravel was number 70, and that was a car that was in contention, wasn't it? So Sebastian Balthazar way out wide, and that means the car that he shares with Jakob Riegel drops down the order. With rear damage out of the race also is 26 of Cyril Salai. Safety cars breed safety cars. You bunch them up and anything can kick off the other side of it. We're not going to have another one, I don't think, but it does rather prove the point that, again, you bunch the field up, everybody suddenly gets all excited and tries to make a move. Incidents can happen. Look at the way Bonduelle, though, is getting away. There's no way near 20 seconds worth of a gap, but he is getting away here from Frasinetti, who has become rather busy, rather distracted all of a sudden, trying to fend off the challenge of number 9 of Oliver Söderström. And those two are together, look, as they make the run once again now down the hill. So Söderström having a real go now at Frasinetti. And this, in real terms, is for the race lead, given the penalty that is being applied to the car that leads on the road at Bonduelle. As I say, it's going to take a little bit of unravelling as they come then down to turn 10 under that new glass building that acts as a bridge over the circuit into the braking zone for turn 10. So the race leaders then dive through the corner. Jesse Spinkovic's on his toes, others trying to make progress under braking. Amaury Bonduelle heading for the checkered flag, heading for a win on the road, but then you've got to factor all of these penalties in. It's going to take a little while to factor them all through to get the correct result, but we'll get there. 28, Amaury Bonduelle set for the win on the road as he comes through. But if the team have told him about the penalty, there'll be frustration in the car. Over the line for 2nd place then, Andrea Frasinetti and Matthew Michelotto, the notional winners ahead of Oliver Söderström and Largin Ali behind. The gap between those two, just half a second at the end. The winner of the classes, well, for Pro-Am, it is going to be Brendan Leach and Tony McIntosh, ahead of Dimitri Engelbert and his co-driver, which is Anthony Nara. And the rest come pouring across the line. Other class winners, Adrian Lewandowski is going to be the winner of AM. And Lamborghini Cup, I think it's going to be Paolo Biglieri with Petra Matic in the ASR entry. So Amaury Bonduelle comes across the line first. But as I say, the assorted penalties for rejoins, for track limits, for pit stops, they've all got to be factored in. So Frasinetti and Michelotto, the winners from Söderström and Ali, and 3rd, Edgar Malloy and Georgi Dimitrov. And where does Bonduelle finish? 24th overall is where 20 seconds drop him to. So Amaury Bonduelle, 24th in the order. He's not 24th in class. This is how more dramas kicked off on the last lap. That's how more suspension was damaged. More cars ended up with problems. 26 being given a big whack, that being Cyril Salai. And then off the road there also was the car of Sebastian Balthazar and Jakob Riegel. And then another big whack. 39 for the gravel bed. Hui Lin Han, the driver from China. So it all kicked off at the end, didn't it? That's for sure. So the top three, Frasinetti, Michelotto, the winners from Ali and Söderström and Malloy and Dimitrov. In Pro-Am, Tony McIntosh and Brendan Leach, the winners from 74 of Anthony Nahara and Dimitri Angel-Bert. And third in the class, Rui Miohas and Renaud Kuppens. In the AM class, Adrian Lewandowski, the winner from Nigel Bailly and Stefan Guerin. That's the top three there. They're all soloists. And in Lamborghini Cup, 32, Paolo Biglieri, Petra Matic victorious from Shota Abkhazova, despite dropping a lap into the gravel. And then Alfredo Hernandez Ortega taking third in the class. So, having done the right thing, just staying behind, letting the corrected times come to him, Andrea Frasinetti takes the race win with the early help of Mattia Michelotto. Good drive, sensible drive, and good points for Lagim Ali and Oliver Söderström in the championship, doing what they've done all year, really, banking points. May not have absolute outright pace, but Bonduelle penalty playing into their hands with two more races tomorrow. A delighted Mattia Michelotto arrives on the scene. Celebrations for the winning drivers. Mattia Michelotto clambers over the barrier. Lagim Ali in the background walks away from the car that he shares with Oliver Söderström. And the winning drivers will pose for the photographs in a moment. Oliver Söderström and Lagim Ali in the end taking that second place and another bag full of points. Very good news indeed with Amaury Bonduelle not being able to score. Right, let's hear from the winners then. Andrea Frasinetti and Mattia Michelotto are victorious and they're with Dakota.
Guys, hai vinto in gara, perfect race. Obviously you didn't know Bonduelle had 20-second penalty, that's why you're here. Did you know, Andrea?
I know.
And you're happy?
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything you want to say to your Italian friends, fans?
Sì, sono davvero felice. I'm very happy. When I start, the condition of the track is difficult, wet, dry, especially in the sector 3 is wet. So, no, I'm very happy.
Andrea, did you learn anything for tomorrow? Because we're going to have to do this all over again.
Yeah, I hope to start like Mattia today, but it will be difficult because next time Bonduelle I think will not be have a mistake, but we'll see. We will fight for victory like always.
Congratulations, ottimo lavoro. Good job, guys.
So winning margin of half a second between Andrea Frasinetti and Oliver Söderström. And Amaury Bonduelle will be decidedly grumpy. So also will Alberto Di Folco, who was another one that copped that Bollard rejoin penalty, and that put him to 29th, Bonduelle 24th in the end. So the winning drivers from the four classes will make their way shortly up to the podium. And Lamborghini Super Trofeo races again tomorrow with the second Barcelona race and the third race being the carryover from Le Mans. So it's going to be Lamborghinis at 11:30 local time and just after 4:30 local time tomorrow with those two races. Right, Pro-Am honours Brendan Leach and Tony McIntosh, two more happy drivers with Dakota.
Congratulations to the both of you. Brendan, we spoke to you a little bit earlier, and obviously you're here now, so it paid off.
Yeah, Tony did an amazing job at the end. He defended from a whole bunch of pro drivers, which was incredible to see, and just drove very smart and composed and brought the thing home. A little bit roughed up, but that's part of the business.
How are you feeling? I mean, it was pretty hot in the car, and it was touch and go at the last minutes with all those safety cars, restarts. Was it a good experience on track?
Super good experience. The car was almost like It was on rails. Brendan and the team did a fantastic job of really hooking up the car. I just drove it normal, basically, and it was hooked up. So mega job to Brendan. He gave me a super awesome position, and mega job to the team.
Congratulations. All the same again tomorrow, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
100%.
Good luck.
Yeah, Brendan Leach, somebody we ought to see more of, whether it's in Lamborghinis or a GT Lamborghini, GT3, because he's certainly got a lot of ability. And made that decision to come from New Zealand to race in Europe, and his reputation has only enhanced over the last few seasons. Right, the results at the end of the race, then a win on corrected times for Matteo Michelotto and Andrea Frasinetti from Oliver Söderström and Largim Ali. Edgar Malloy third with Georgi Dimitrov and Edgar Orodchev fourth. Giorgio Amati fifth with SSR Manalthio and Pavel Lefterov and Stefan Bostanji. The GT4 regulars are in sixth. 10th, Pro-Am winners, Tony McIntosh and Brandon Leach. 19th, the Am winner, and that's Adrian Lewandowski. And a little bit further back, you get to the winner of the Lamborghini Cup part of the race, and that is Petra Matic with Paolo Biglieri ahead of Shotram Kazova, and then Alfredo Hernandez Ortega in third. Quite a few drivers not making it to the end after a fairly bruising 50 minutes of racing, and there are quite a few cars with work to be done before a busy day tomorrow with those two races. Not two for everybody. If you weren't entered for the Le Mans race, you can't do the replacement, the carryover. But if you were entered for it and you're here, then the track is yours. So then, the podium awaits for the drivers. And as soon as we can get them up there, then the podium ceremony will be underway. Let's look at the highlights of that race while we await the podium to come. It was a lively race, that was for sure, as the field accelerated down towards turn one. And this was Amory Bourduel got it wrong straight off through the gravel, but he rejoined in the wrong place. It wasn't long before Cedric Lima was in trouble and put the car in the gravel, and that meant that we had the early safety car period. Matteo Michelotto led and then had to rebuild the lead the other side of that safety car period. As he tried to escape up the road, others were trying to rebuild their races, and when the pit stop window came, Amory Bourduel looked to be in a good place. On the second stint, he was rapidly up with the race leaders, got around the outside of Edgar Malloy for second, and then made his move against the fish-tailing car of the leader, Andrea Frasinetti. Coming out of turn 12, as Frasinetti got sideways, there was a gap on the inside. That was all the invitation Bourduel needed. Through he went and picked up the race lead. Contact, though, took John Seal out of the race, and he wasn't the only one involved in it. That meant another safety car period. Bad news for Bourduel, who, by this stage, had been given a 20-second penalty for rejoining in the wrong manner, and so he really had no chance at all to build much of a gap. And incidents aplenty came right to the very end of the race, as Cyril Salai got another big whack, and that damaged his car. Amory Bourduel then took the checkered flag first, but 24th was his reward, with that time penalty applied. So action aplenty in Lamborghini Super Trofeo, a win for Andrea Frasinetti and Matteo Michelotto. And the teams are ready, and I think one of the teams sitting on the timing beam there, the chief timekeeper Stefan Ruhl, having a word to say, can you get off my cable, please? So I think we're good, and the drivers then ready to be brought forward. And it's going to be the pro class first. So it is Edgar Malloy and Georgi Dimitrov that will step forward first. The Iron Lynx drivers then for the third step on the podium. For P2, it's going to be Largim Ali and Oliver Söderström. Up they come. And then the race winners for the Italian ASR team. It is going to be, for Vincenzo Sospiri's team, Andrea Frasinetti and Matteo Michelotto, who will step forward for the top step of the podium. Win number 2 of the year for Michelotto, win number 1 of the year for Frasinetti, And it's going to be a very happy pair of drivers that will stand on the top step of the podium. Trophies presented to the drivers, and very happy Mattia Michelotto gaining some points back in the championship, but even happier are going to be Largim Ali and Oliver Söderström, as that gives them now the perfect opportunity to make some progress to catch back up to Amaury Bonduelle before the end of the weekend, never mind the end of the season, but the end of the weekend potentially. So for the winning drivers in Pro, trophies, everyone gets together for photographs, and there's more to come from Lamborghini Super Trofeo Europe tomorrow with the further two races that we have, and that then effectively concludes the regular format of race weekends before they go to the very busy World Final weekend, where they have the final two European races, plus Asia, plus North America, and then the shootout for the World Final success itself. Champagne is at the ready for Mattia Michelotto and Andrea Frasinetti. And the celebrations are underway at the end of race one of the weekend. So the teams in the pit lane ready for the next podium. 4 of them we have, of course, for the different classes. Often at World Final weekend, the races can be split depending on how many cars you get for the European rounds, with a split of the pros and the pro-ams, and then the AMs and the Lamborghini Cup drivers having their own private contest. This weekend, it's all in. So drivers now for the Pro-Am podium make their way forward, with Rui Meerhaas and Renaud Kuppens for the 3rd place. There we have, next up, the 2nd placed crew, which is for Dimitri Angelbert and Anthony Nara, 2nd spot, and then the winners Brendan Leach and Tony McIntosh make their way for the top step. The returning Brendan Leach, and returning in style with a good category win. Happy drivers all round, and Tony McIntosh and Brendan Leach victorious for the Leipert Motorsport team. So for the Leipert team, the German national anthem, now the drivers await the trophies. The noise in the background is more Lamborghinis, as I say, making their way out for the VIP laps.
Can we just...
Rui Meerhaas wanting to photos taken. And so Brendan Leach, Tony McIntosh victorious and a maiden victory for Tony Leach within the championship, and a job well done. Brendan Leach doing a good job in that first stint on a challenging track surface and being roughed up a little bit, as he said. It was such a crowded house, it was always going to be busy at the start of the race. From Hankook Tyres, the winner's trophy as well. And Brendan Leach, I think we'll have to give that to Tony McIntosh as the AM. It's only fair. Right, group photos done. And everybody smiles for the cameras, and that should be the Pro-Am podium almost done. There is some champagne to enjoy yet. And come what may, that is going to be sprayed. Whether you like it or not, the podium isn't a proper podium without champagne. So the Pro-Am victors will, in a moment, head back to the cool-down room. And so with AM and Lamborghini Cup podiums still to come, the winning AM soloist Adrian Lewandowski. His father was entered, having been a multiple Lamborghini Super Trofeo title winner, whether it's been in championships or world finals, but in the end not racing this weekend. So to the podium comes Stefan Guerin for third place in AM, then Nigel Bailly for second place. Gets a great reception. Nigel, who was left paraplegic after a motocross accident, and he is, with the help of his compatriots, put onto the second step by Stefan Guerin and by Adrian Lewandowski, who is there, continuing the dynasty as a victor for the family, for the ASR team, the Polish driver on the top step as a victor for the Autosport Racing Service team. Congratulations to the top three, to Adrian Lewandowski, to Nigel Bailly, and of course to Stefan Guerin for third place. The winning team represented there. Nigel Bailly explaining that he needs to go before the champagne gets, because he can't really dodge out of the way. So he'll let them play, but he wants to be off the podium. Gets his trophy, and a really good result for Nigel. That we've seen him in the past in GT 3-star racing, but he's decided to come into Super Trofeo this year and doing the race on his own. It's a car adapted for him, of course. A good result. So teams get together from Hankook. There is the trophy.
Well done, congratulations. Thank you.
So happy drivers on the podium at the end of the AM battle, and we'll see whether Adrian Lewandowski can continue that pace into tomorrow. And everybody drops down to Nigel Bailly, ready for one final group photograph. And Nigel is very adept at this. Down he goes. So he makes his way off the podium, and there's champagne to come as well. So Nigel Bailly takes the bottle with him. great camaraderie, which is always good to see amongst the drivers within the championship. There's a great hospitality element to the Super Trofeo paddock, and good relationships formed between drivers as well. Right, that should take us to the final podium, the Lamborghini Cup podium to come. And as the drivers come forward, you have Alfredo Hernandez Ortega then for third place. Another regular Super Trofeo racer in recent seasons, the Mexican. Then we have for second place, the driver from Kazakhstan, licensed Shota Abkhazova. And for the top step forward Petr Matic and his co-driver Paolo Bilieri, and family, who all want to get on the act. But a happy family, a happy podium, and a happy team as well will be represented there as well. That winning team being, as it was for Am, the Autosport Racing Service squad. Final national anthem of the day done. Final trophies to be presented, and as they are brought forward now for the winning drivers, Alfredo Hernandez Ortega takes his trophy for third. There for the winners, for Petr Matic and Paolo Bilieri, the trophies go to the family rather than to the driver, which is a nice touch. So the winning drivers celebrate. Hancock Trophy being presented as well, and two more chapters of the Super Trofeo story to come over the course of the weekend. Final photographs being taken, and for Petr Matic and Paolo Bilieri, good result, and we'll see whether that can be replicated as well tomorrow. So we'll see you tomorrow for two more races and more drama from Lamborghini Super Trofeo Europe here from Barcelona. Bye for now.